Hi, part two today of my new video channel, Surviving Disney Parks with Special Needs and Autism. It's going to cover, now that you've maybe found the right hotel for yourself at Disneyland and you arrived and you had fun your first during the day part, but you want to find a place to stay. I'd recommend you really do that before you officially go on your trip to Disneyland. Also, when you go to look for a hotel, you can go on any hotel website and book, but I highly recommend hotels.com. They have amazing deals and as well as discounts if you become a hotels.com member. The other thing that you're going to need to know about going into your hotel room is if you have special needs, become aware with the surroundings at the hotel, including the staff, if possible, the desk layout, and the general layout of the rooms and the hotel itself. Of course, always remember what room you are and what floor you're on. You do not want to get lost in a hotel of any kind. Always tell the staff if there's a problem with your room, your reservation, anything at all. They should be there to help you, and that's their job. Anyway, now that we've discussed that part, I'm going to tell you something that you should know too. Because of the COVID-19 restrictions, if Disneyland does reopen when restrictions are still in place, some things still may not be totally available, such as eating in the hotel itself. You may have to eat outside on a patio or get stuff delivered into your actual hotel room. The problem is going to lie on how long we have to face these restrictions. Yes, I don't like these restrictions either. They have really slowed down, how much I can do, travel, and help others learn how to travel, besides doing these videos. So, the other thing that you should really learn to think about is that once you have stayed, your duration, and if you want to ask the desk if you could get another night to recoup, that might even be a great idea, because let's just say after your trip, you may have trouble traveling back home due to the way you travel, if and somebody can pick you up or not, and how far you have to go back home. For me, usually I take Lyft or my parents pick me up from the Disneyland pickup and drop off center. So it just depends on what your transportation options are. The other thing I'll discuss in this part of this video is that the other thing you should know is when you're at Disneyland, you also can, book ahead of time. You can book tours to go on at Disneyland. Just look at the Disneyland website or a tourist, website and see what you can do with that. The other thing we're going to have to discuss is about with other special needs. Sorry, I had an itch and I couldn't help it. Sorry. The other thing you're going to have to know is whether or not you bring a companion with you to Disneyland and California Adventure. The problem's going to lie with how mobile you are, how familiar you are with the theme parks. Also, as much as I am really independent, I do struggle with getting off of a couple of the Disneyland rides by myself. One of them, because I'm only 5'1", is the carousel, the King Arthur carousel. Also in California Adventure, they have one called Jesse's Critter Carousel from Jesse from Toy Story theme. Both of those can have a really high step up and a step down. So for me, it's always imperative that I have somebody to get me down, either a friend or another cast member. Also, some of the seatbelt restraints in some of the rides can be a bit challenging for those with special needs. My main struggle with the rides is that for me, the Matterhorn has a really tricky seatbelt system for me because the belt can be a little bit hard to fasten. The other one it's challenging for me is called Soaring Around the World in California Adventure in an area called Grizzly Peak. It used to be, I believe, known as like Condor Flats or something, but now it's rethemed to Grizzly Peak. The other thing that's gonna be a huge challenge for those with special needs is sometimes the one ride I also have trouble with is getting down into certain rides that are really low because I worry about losing my balance. If that's a problem for you, either kind of reconsider that it may not be a good idea for you to get on the ride with or without a companion, or you may need help. And if it becomes an issue to where you don't feel safe, you should just maybe bypass that attraction. Most of the attractions are pretty easy to get down into once you're used to the track layouts and the seat layouts. The other one that proved to be a challenge for me is a ride called, and it's not there anymore, but it used to be called It's Tough to Be a Bug. That show is actually a show more than an attraction. That was very, very sensory inducing. So now that area is going to become Avengers Campus. I'm not very excited about Avengers Campus, maybe due to not really being a Marvel fan or even a superhero fan in general. But the other thing that's going to be hard is I'm worried they're going to be very sensory overloading. The other thing that you're going to have to be aware of too, the other land that is very sensory inducing and kind of not my thing is Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. People may or may not agree with me on this controversial topic on this point about Galaxy's Edge. I personally loved what was there before, Big Thunder Ranch and Big Thunder Ranch Barbecue. I was really crying my eyes out when I found out that Big Thunder Ranch was going away. I got to see one of the very last, if not the last time, Big Thunder Ranch would be open. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to me, and you can disagree with me in the comments below, but don't be abusive or too mean. I think personally Galaxy's Edge looks like garbage to me. It looks like they just threw up stuff into the land and left it to rot. If you walk in from a beautiful area such as Adventureland or Frontierland or even Critter Country, you will be sadly having to look at a very different scene. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is not my favorite land. In fact, it is my least favorite land in Disneyland. Sorry for disagreements that might come. The other thing that I'm going to have to warn you about is the fact about to survive California Adventure now. Now we're going to shift a little bit into why California Adventure may not be the most, sensory-friendly land in the Disneyland Resort. California Adventure was first opened in 2001, and it has changed quite a bit now than it used to be. It is a much smaller land than Disneyland is, and it's also much louder. It's got rides such as the Incredicoaster, which is incredibly loud. But I can go on it because my hearing sensitivities and sensory overloads are a lot less. Especially now that I can go on things and not have to wear earplugs all that much. I can tell not everybody has gotten over their sensory issues with their autism. So if you're one of those who have heightened sensory issues with autism, the Incredicoaster goes from 0 to I think about 60 in 3 seconds or something. It's very fast. The ride does go upside down in a full 360-degree loop, just one time. But the other thing that's a scare factor is that the fact where the tracks for the audio are very loud. At night, everything glows in the dark to make like an eerie, ride for the Incredicoaster. So if you have heightened sensory issues, fear of heights, problems with your neck, back, or any other medical problems that you don't know about for yourself, I would skip that attraction. The other attraction that might scare certain guests, including those with autism and with other special needs, would be most likely the jellyfish ride. Jumping Jellyfish is what it's called. It's a ride where you go up in a jellyfish, up in the air, and you slowly drift back down. I'm not afraid of that because I can go on things that people would be shocked about with my autism. The only thing you're going to have to realize is that a lot of rides will scare those with special needs more than, let's say, the regular person. Another ride that may scare certain guests at California Adventure would be maybe for smaller guests with special needs. The only reason I would say the Little Mermaid ride would be scary for them is because of the big animatronic Ursula. She is giant. She's I would say probably 30 to 50 feet. She's giant. Whatever her dynamics are, you look at her and you just get the chills. Before you actually get into Ursula's lair in the ride, you actually see her 2 pet eels, Flotsam and Jetsam. Flotsam and Jetsam not only look kind of eerie, but the ride gives you the chills because of the air conditioning in there. And I think it's also because that's the effect they want to give you. They want to make that scene eerie. Because, Ursula is evil and very scary. As a kid, I really did not like her, and I did not like looking at her when I was a kid. I had a pink blanket that I had when I was young. I would hide under it away from her if I was watching the movie. The other thing we're going to discuss is the Soaring Around the World ride is beautiful, and it has a lot of scenes that many people would love because they're beautiful. You see the Taj Mahal in India. You can see various scenes from around the world, including at the end, you see Tinkerbell fly up above the screen and brings you back to Disneyland, where there's also a firework scene before it ends. The people who are afraid of heights or have other sensory issues may find the ride a little scary for the first time, but I always recommend giving it a try once to see how you deal with it. The other thing that you must know is during the shows at California Adventure, some of the rides may need to be closed down to let World of Color happen, because if they were to let the rides operate during that time, the noise may be too much for the show. I don't remember exactly what attractions have closed in the past while the show was playing, but I'm sure there was a couple. Also, bringing on to shows. At California Adventure, World of Color is a beautiful water immersion show with lots of big water fountains and water effects that make videos for you to see and songs. Some of the scenes can be really loud, but as long as people with sound sensitivities can bring their earplugs or their headphones or anything to like a comfort item, they should be fine and enjoy the show. So the other thing that's frustrating is when it starts raining, sometimes those with sensory issues don't enjoy the theme park sometimes. The rain may scare them because some people with sensory issues also don't like thunder and lightning. I myself am okay with a lot of that weather because I'm used to it. If anybody has questions after these videos, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And like I said earlier, please subscribe and tell everybody you know to please subscribe to my channel. It would really help me a lot for being a new YouTuber. The other thing that I will say, going back to Disneyland, the other thing that's getting really frustrating for me right now, as a classic Disney lover and a really long-time Disneyland pass holder, is the controversial changes to Disney rides that are beginning to happen because of BLM. I won't say the name out loud because that could cause controversy, but people must know what I'm talking about by now. So the other thing that's getting really frustrating, I do not support the retheming of Splash Mountain, not because, and don't think of me as a racist because I'm not. I'm just a classic Disney ride lover that does not like these controversial changes. I just don't always agree with these social groups and other groups that are trying to make the theme parks change everything for their wants and their wishes. Sometimes that's not always the best thing. Disney, in my opinion, should not be giving in to some of these groups. All opinions aside, I'm also not excited about the changes that are going to become, controversial on the classic Jungle Cruise ride. The Jungle Cruise ride, to me, does not have anything inappropriate in it. I don't see it. Can anybody point out to me in the comments why they see Jungle Cruise as being controversial and inappropriate? The other thing that I would have to say is a huge downer if you go back to Disneyland like after a long time and or you haven't been there in a long time, is that they've also taken out a lot of seating stuff that used to be useful for the parades and everything, such as the curbs. They don't really have curbs in Disneyland like much anymore because they're flattening all the curbs to, I guess, make it more available for people with wheelchairs to get around without getting hurt or something. But the curbs would help us see the parades much better than sitting on a flat ground and making it a little bit harder for us to see, especially me. When I sit on the floor, I look like a little kid. I'm not going to really demonstrate it because then I might mess up the video. So, we're going to just take my word for it. A lot of controversial changes are happening at Disneyland and California Adventure. The one ride I have to say that I might, be okay with going on eventually will be the Rise of the Resistance ride that's going to open in Star Wars Land, or I may really not like it because I don't like the land right now already. I told you why with Big Thunder Ranch going away, why I was so angry with Disney for letting that come in. So sorry if I offended those who are huge, Star Wars fans, but some people like me just are not huge fans. The other thing I really need to tell you is that there's a new problem with how people are saying that annual pass holders at Disneyland are making everybody's experience at Disneyland harder to enjoy. I don't know why people would say that about an annual pass holder. Love me for this comment or hate me, but Disneyland thrives on annual pass holders to come in, as well as Southern California residents actually buying still their tickets. Disneyland thrives so much more on localism, but that to me is always good because we deserve having local spots to hang out as Southern California residents. We also do get a lot of people from other states and countries, though. So, if that is what's going to stop you from having a good time, then really don't, let everybody else's experience be, harmed by your thoughts, opinions, and other controversial comments. Keep those nasty comments to yourself, please. The other thing I'm going to have to say is if on this page I do get any negative comments from people, calling me a name or saying that my channel isn't great or saying nasty comments about me in general, those who do not follow my rules on this channel will be told that they are banned and I will have to take down their comments. So please don't be one of those people and enjoy the page for forever, hopefully. I hope to be doing this for a long time to come and as much as I can. The final few minutes will be focused on making sure you understand about how this new thing called mobile order works for food at the resort. Disneyland and California Adventure now have something for food orders called mobile order, and they have had it a while, but it's still really kicking off. Mobile order lets you go use your phone to order your food ahead of time, and it will be ready after you are gonna get ready to get your food. Once it's ready, you show them your confirmation number, I think, or just your name and phone number, and you pick up your food. So, those are the things I discussed in this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, Disneyland special needs members.